All right, so this is the Parks, Recreation, and Public Spaces Committee meeting for Tuesday, September 15th. We'll go ahead and start with our first agenda item, request to address the committee. I don't think there's any of those outside of our next agenda item. You just want to address it on the citizen-led projects, Ms. Stevenson? Okay, so we'll move on to item number 2, which is citizen-led projects. And with us, we have Ms. Leslie Stevenson, who would like to make a couple announcements.
Thank you and good evening. It's nice to be with you all again. Can you hear me okay?
Perfectly.
Wonderful. So I'm here on behalf of ASAP Norwood, and I'm also going to share some updates from our partner Norwood Together. So on behalf of ASAP and all of the community partners, just want to remind you all and the public that the Waterworks basketball courts are completed and open. We've decided to extend the sweepstakes to help celebrate that launch. And so you're still able to go down to the courts, take a selfie, and post it on Facebook with the hashtag Waterworks Hoops, and that will enter you in the sweepstakes. The new deadline for entry is Sunday, September 20th at 11:59 p.m. So hopefully you'll get a chance to enter. The second thing I wanted to follow up on, the last time we were able to address this committee, Dr. Lauren Bartosik shared about park advisory boards, and we just wanted to confirm, were you able to receive the examples she emailed?
For the Parks Advisory Tool? Yeah.
Yes, okay, wonderful. We wanted to make sure that got to you, and if you have any questions, she's available via email. Next, so the park audit is underway. I actually had Waterworks assigned to me, so I was there this morning on the upper and lower, going around, filling out my assessment. And it was really good awareness for me. I've not spent a ton of time there, but several community members are going to be out and about in our parks, and thankful that they stepped up to help with that. Just want you all to know that is ongoing. We're trying to wrap that up this week, the actual audit. And then as we get the information analyzed, we'll be back. That project team will give you an update. And then the last is just a reminder. So last time we were here, Norwood Together was here as well during this agenda item. I just want to remind folks that several organizations, Norwood Together, ASAP, and others are working together to clean up the trails at Lindner Park. We're going to be there the rest of the Fridays in September from 5 to 8 p.m. So you can be aware that's happening with citizen-led work as well. And that's actually going to extend. So last week there were 20 volunteers who came out. Work is happening, but there's more to take place. So after September, it's likely you'll see postings for some Saturdays in October when that work will continue. So if you do choose to come out, and everyone is welcome, please make sure you're wearing a mask, bring gloves, any tools you have, dress for the weather. But yeah, Friday, 5 to 8, this week will be the next one. Any questions about any of our citizen-led work?
Not for me personally.
Just to clarify, it's for the rest of this month and potentially into October, it's all at Lindner Park. It's not going to other parks.
Correct. Right now, there's a concerted effort to work on the trails at Lindner Park.
Cool.
Yeah, so Fridays, 5 to 8, cleanups, September, and in October, the work will continue, likely on a Saturday.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stevenson. So with that, we'll move on to item number 3, which is our Hunter Park discussion. So last meeting, we discussed the survey we had out, and that we closed that, and we were able to get 229 total responses. And tonight, I'd like to just go over the results and kind of where we're at and get an idea. I know I was talking park layouts, but I want to get with Clint Zimmerman before I start doing those, because I want to make sure that things can go in these certain places before we start even deciding on where we're going to put stuff. I just want to make sure. Access ways and access. I ran into that with Lisa Tanner's park, where I was like, I want that big Allison place set to go right in the middle, and he's like, well, we kind of need to drive through there to get to Waterworks 4, so I think it's a good move to kind of wait, talk to him, and then we can go over this tonight. And I want to put out that the survey results will be shared to my Facebook page tonight. I was going to post them right before the meeting, but my internet's not working here. So I will post these so residents can see them and kind of go over them and kind of see what they can expect there. So, so the first question we asked was, what would you like to see where the old basketball court is? And I gave the option to select up to two options here. Out of 229 responses, this got 227 answers on it. And leading the way by far with 130 votes, and it's 57.3% of those who responded is a dog park there. With that option, I think, tearing up the concrete that's there and, putting in some grass and possibly, putting a new fence in there, it would be a low cost, low impact deal. And I believe Mr. Dracy is looking for grants on that too, so, and he doesn't want the city to have to spend any money on that kind of project, so that's good. And then second behind that was a new basketball court and then a community garden there. But so the one that kind of went out there is the dog park idea, and I really like that one. So moving on to the next question, which got 224 responses. Says, would you like an additional shelter with tables and a grill? There's a shelter there already. It's, not in the best shape, but it's not terrible. It's still usable. The picnic table there will need replaced. And then the two other ones that are on the side, we're probably looking at just taking those out, maybe replacing one of them. So 66.5% of the people that responded said yes, they would like an additional shelter with tables and a grill. And that would also be adding a grill to the existing shelters there. To make it more rentable and try to get it more income for the parks and in the city at that point would kind of be, what we're trying to do with that. This is a big one. I know this is big talked about in Norwood many times by many people, many different groups, is, walking path in Norwood. We asked that question, would you like to have a walking path? 225 people responded to that and said yes. Overwhelmingly, 82.7% of the people who responded said yes, they would like a walking path. And that's the main reason I'm meeting with Clint Zimmerman tomorrow is kind of walk out and measure the area that we'd have the walking path so we can start immediately seeking bids for that, because I feel like that's going to be a pretty pricey job, but that's an awesome response, I think. And then our next question was, which would you like to see in the big open field area? Currently, I think they do have some overflow soccer practices there. Mr. Dracy, you probably know more.
It's overflow, but it's only if there's 2 or 3 teams booked on the same field for practice, which
so it's not like
isn't. It might be once or twice, but as of right now, they have Upper Millcrest that they can utilize as well. So it's not like we're hurting to have soccer practice. We don't have any games up there right now as far as, say, soccer's concerned.
Yeah. And we asked the residents, which would you like to see in that open field area? 54.6% of the people that responded said they would like to see large play sets in that area. And 45.4% of the people said leave it open. So with that, I will stop for a minute and say one of the play sets we are looking to put there is the play set that was donated by the school board or the school system from Allison. There are a couple things we're looking into to be able to use it and have it covered by insurance, which is there's multiple hoops we got to jump through. Is can we find replaceable hardware so we can set it up with brand new hardware, not rusted stuff or things that might have lack in structural integrity. The slide, the big circle slide, the corkscrew slide on it is broken, so we're gonna have to see if we can find one of those that match and fit. The stairs, when you first enter it, the playset are kind of messed up and could possibly have a tripping hazard there, so we want to find a new one of those. And then the last one that Mr. Zimmerman said that would be kind of tough to do, but he thinks we can, is when we do pull it out of the ground, there's concrete holding the pillars in. And knocking that concrete off without creating failures on the post and the pillars. So that there's multiple things that we're going to have to work through before we can actually say, yes, we're putting it there. But in a perfect world, all those go right, we will be using that at Hunter Park. And we're very appreciative of the school donating that to us, because I know it's been tempted in the past and it hasn't really happened. So the fact that we can work together and do something like that is, to me, is tremendous. So any possible way we can do it, we want to get that done, and it'll save on this project a little bit too. The next response was, would you like to have an adult swing set, a sand volleyball court, or both? So 43.9% of the responses were for both. 27.3% of the responses were for a sand volleyball court, and 28.8% of the responses were for an adult swing set. This one only got 198 responses, so, and this is, for this one here, is the answer that I really want to meet with Clint tomorrow to kind of discuss how they approach that park for maintenance and entry, because where Mr. Dracy and I were up there before, what we were looking at for this, or these items, was potentially, in my opinion, kind of where they drive through to get up there with the trucks to go cut the grass and that. So I want to make sure that if we can put it there, we're out of that kind of area and we can get kind of a look and layout before we put a layout
And
together.
I'm pretty sure that we were looking to the south side of that bathroom house, or the bathhouse there,
Yeah.
the restrooms, which would leave enough access through Carthage to get in, because
Yeah.
as long as we're not on the north side of that restroom, we should be fine.
Yeah, and I just kind of want to get a second look on it and have him kind of point out where, things might be, before we start doing that. And this one here is one where if for some reason one can't fit but the other can, we can kind of make that decision, since we did have a multitude of options on here, and kind of, if we need something smaller there and one's kind of bigger than the other, we can just push that one out and say we'll probably look for that at another park or something like that, or even bring it back in future surveys. So the last question, I figured this would kind of just be extra, no-brainer, but you never know. You got some people that I guess hate benches and flowers. So, but I want to put it out there, would you like to see more benches and flowers? And overwhelmingly, it was a 94.1% yes, which again, I think is no-brainer, but it's nice to know what people want, and it's nice to have their opinions and input. So we'll be seeing more benches, hopefully along the walking path, like we talked about there, with some flower beds next to it, little pots and stuff, and I think it'll look really nice that way. I think it'll definitely spruce that park up and give it some character, as it were.
And I know we discussed this at the last meeting, but included with that walking path, what we're looking to try and do is set up some body weight workout equipment, a push-up bar, sit-up bench, some pull-ups and chin-up bars, something along the way of one side of that path, so that you could stop, do some sort of exercise, and then continue your walk and then do it again.
And I did reach out after last meeting to Ms. Jen Liss over at the school about the possibility for them to have some grant money for this exact kind of project. And she did inform me, unfortunately, that money is kind of handcuffed for use at a school, for them to create something like that at a school or school grounds. So, but she did express interest in, being a part of this in any way they need with the Captain's Council up there. It's pretty much a group of kids that are leaders and want to be leaders in the community. So I think it'd definitely be beneficial to include them on this any way we can, whether it's helping out with the cleanup, whether it's, painting and all this other stuff we're planning on doing this. And I'm still waiting to hear from Norwood together to find out when they want to do a second park cleanup, which we'll be able to do some of those things. So that'll be coming as well, hopefully at one of the future meetings.
I know that you mentioned a minute ago that you were going to talk to Clint, and part of that was laying out the schedule for the rest of the year and into '21. Do you foresee the Hunter Park renovation as a phased approach, or do you think it would be more likely that you would block off a big chunk of time and do, 3 of these at the same time?
Yeah, what I think, and this is just being cautious, is the walking path I want to get in fairly early and get that in, get it set. And then the play sets and that, hopefully if we can get it done before it gets too cold out. If not, that would be put in, purchased, planned delivery for going into 2021 after the cold season. So
And then things like, so to say it back to you, more like a phased approach. Like
Yeah.
phase one would be
Yeah.
the path and maybe ambitiously the play equipment. Phase two might be whatever Matt finds on the dog park and the shelter stuff, let's say.
Yeah.
Okay,
A
cool.
consistent flow of stuff and,
Yeah,
you know.
especially the dog park stuff, because the grants only open up twice a year. And once in the spring and once in the fall, so.
Yeah, and I mean, getting that concrete broke up and out of there is gonna probably take some
That was where
man
I
hours
was going.
and
I think that
time,
that's going to be a
so.
pretty big deal. And so I'm glad to hear that. I think it's the right way. I'm not surprised
Plus,
that that's what you
I don't
said.
think we want to take away from the other parks
No,
that need,
no. I mean,
that
yeah.
have been scheduled to have things done.
Yeah, this is gonna be a big project. It's not gonna be an overnight thing.
Cool.
But, so yeah, to answer your question, it will be phased, but it will be a constant move forward, not like a start and then a stop and a start and a stop. But it'll be done kind of alongside other things going on. And we understand that, you know, there's manpower issues there and time issues and equipment issues. So we want to respect that and respect what other parks have going on. Is there any other questions on the survey, the answers, concerns, questions?
I love the survey mindset with this and a few other projects going on. So good job. to
Yeah, thank
two.
you. Yeah, I mean, I really love this idea. I think it's great. It works. It's easy. I'm not as technology savvy as some, so my wife is telling me there's an opportunity to like share it or something, so but I just did screenshots. I'm gonna post up on my page, so I'm still learning, but you know, I like this approach. It's easy. It gets it out there in front of residents. They don't have to show up somewhere and fill something out, especially in the climate we're in now. It's, you know, hey, I've got a couple minutes, I'm gonna click and take this survey to help my community out. So to me, it's a winning approach, so I appreciate that. So if we're done with that, I see Ms. Bowles here, and she wants to speak, I believe, right? Well, we had our request to address committee, and then our citizen-led projects. Would you guys be willing to cycle back and
We got
allow
loads
Ms.
of
Bowles a
time.
couple minutes?
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
running
We
early.
got time.
Or running fast.
Yeah, so if you would like to speak from it, go ahead.
Okay. I'm sorry, I walked here and I went to City Hall first. That's why I'm late. I mean no disrespect. Dana Bowl, 3947 Ellesmere. I sent you let me get my glasses. I sent you an email and I thought I would just read it. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would that be quicker and easier? I cannot fog up here. I am writing to express interest in using the Adopt a Park program developed in 2019 to provide amenities to the Pocket Park at the intersection of Floral, Ellesmere, and Lexington. And I have a reason, and my reason is that back in August of 2019, myself, creative citizens, and friends, using the mission and criteria of Keep Norwood Cool, hosted a citizens studio charrette. Can I take this off, or do I have to keep it on here?
Let's keep it
I
on.
think you have to keep it
You
on.
can't
there.
keep it on, okay, no problem.
We can hear you though.
You can, okay. To learn and offer solutions for the impact of the forthcoming bike traffic due to Wasson Way. Citizens generated visual ideas for discussion, which included edible landscapes, bike repair stations, shade units, trees, low-level lighting and pathways. Thank you, Eric. Novel pavers, water sources for dogs and people, trash receptacles, sculpture, landscaping, barriers, and signage. To elevate the conversation and provide new information, presentations were provided by the Green Team and Groundwork Cincinnati, a DAP climate expert, Praveen Bawakprakar, Norwood Police Officer Dawson Buck, Wade Johnson of Tri-State Trails, with city leaders Greg Aruz and Chris Brown helping to coordinate. And while the charrette was not a survey, It was indeed a design survey. A design survey helps to produce a design brief, which is simply a different pathway to a solution. So currently, interested neighbors include those who helped on Make a Difference Day. For people that don't know, I always do a tree planting in October on Make a Difference Day, which is started by George Herbert Bush last year. And those who are helping on that little park informally now. As there is limited space, new upgrades might include a significant tree, fertilizing the existing trees, and some signage. Any additions would be presented for review to the Parks Committee, and your input is welcome. So to summarize, last year we had this big event and we got all excited, and then a lot of stuff happened, including, having a new administration and having a pandemic and having, Newer Together is working with Wasson Way, and that is great, and they have provided, dog waste receptacles and things like that. But I would like to sort of pick up where I left off, and using my own kind of flavor. My interest obviously is climate and people walking, and also just the fun factor. So, and the creative factor. I feel like, surveys are great and they do help everybody get started and they block out parameters. But then if you took the survey you did and you did a charrette with, people from all different groups, you would say, hey, workout. Well, let's put a hive on the workout equipment, lighting, sculptures. Let's put a hive on that, and then people put things up, and they can look, and they can reflect, and they can get used to the idea and get comfortable with it, instead of what we've got now is everything's happening behind the scenes, and people just, they feel like stuff just sneaks up on them and blows up in their face. So I think the charrette process is great. I understand there's could possibly be a lot of volatility in it now. I don't, we had a lot of professional designers at the last one, but a lot of people, just regular people from the neighborhood that just got really excited about stuff. So I know the park is small, but what I'm hearing is that in the evening, or at different times, bikes will just come down off the exit ramp, and there's no stop sign there. Cars don't stop, the bikes don't stop, so kind of dangerous. I'm also hearing that because there isn't signage at night, stop signs, people are, apparently their GPS, maybe they're drunk, just possibly, and they're getting lost back in there, and then they're running into cars that are parked on the street. So I believe that the security gate at School Outfitters has been run into a couple times. So I know your parks, I want to do this little presentation to the Streets Committee, not overdoing it or anything, but some of the folks are thinking, well, what happened with the charrette? We didn't get, so I'm happy to either create a binder for you guys. I'm happy to, I had wanted to do a follow-up charrette where we could put everything up and then have people say, hey, well, I remember that idea and I saw this other thing, and they take it further. I'm just about facilitating, not totally get out of the way. So I think that area could be, you could block it off for gatherings, because the way it's situated, there's nobody who couldn't get to their driveway. Like when we would have the farmer's market on Ellesmere, it was great, but some people were somewhat inconvenienced. Not, they wanted the farmer's market, but at that intersection, it's wide open, and the driveways are all, you could block that off, and you could have a farmer's market, you could have an art market, you could have a bicycle, like Metro Scooter or the bicycle people, you could have food trucks. You could make that place very flexible and turn it into a pop-up park basically. It's a street sometimes, it's a park some other times. So I think it's a big opportunity, so much interest. So I would like to gather the neighbors together and the creatives and just put something cool in there.
What area are you looking at?
There's a little park. There used to be like a 3-story corner store building there ages ago, got knocked down. And there are 3 smaller trees.
Which streets intersecting?
It's Ellesmere and Floral, and then Floral turns into Lexington as it continues.
It's one of the main entrances into Watson Way. It's like a little corner, like a corner bit.
So one of the things that's happening now is we have the access there at David Millett, it's been Prayer and the office supply store and everything over the years. And people park on the entrance exit ramp. And there's no sign that says no parking.
Yeah.
That is like a major barrier to using the bike trail. So that's one thing.
Just to clarify, I think I'll help you find out exactly where it is on a map, but.
It doesn't have a name or anything.
Yeah. Are you kind of telling us that you're going to hold a shred and then provide us with the responses or guidance? Is that kind of the aim here?
We already had it, and Eric can tell you a little bit more about that. Maybe it'd be better if I quit talking for a second.
Yeah, it's basically kind of, we all did some sort of creative homework and brainstorming on what we'd like to see when it comes to Norwood integrating with Wasson Way. And the shred that Dana facilitated, we all got together, we brought our ideas. It was the first time we had all gotten together, we were all sort of independently thinking about it. She brought us together, and then we started to group ideas under buckets and start to find common themes and things, and which she listed a lot of them here. And it's a process for generating ideas, for organizing, and then, if you did a second one, it would be sort of taking those ideas and refining them, or you can just take, as you mentioned, maybe a binder or something that had everything just to look at so you could see what people were thinking. But the places where Norwood sort of, our natural roads, walking paths intersected with Wasson Way was a big topic of discussion. It was like entry points to Wasson Way, exit points from Wasson Way, being how do those points not only make them accessible and easy to use and handy for the people who use them, but also have them reflect positively on Norwood, because people could be coming from farther down Wasson Way and out into Norwood to explore Norwood, and so these places could become sort of little intro hubs to Norwood from the bike trail. So that's kind of my
Great.
broad take.
Yeah, he's.
Yeah, I really like the thought of that. I think that'd be something that'd be amazing to have you champion that and kind of help us with that process and bring some information and kind of lead the way on that. I think you'd be perfect for that.
Well, I do think people are excited. It is kind of confusing, and so it's kind of when you get everybody in the room, you give them some coffee and some donuts, and then it's kind of blocked out for them, then they start getting excited. And then they say, oh, I didn't think of that, or that's right, I was in Michigan and I saw something like that. So then you start saying, well, people want plants and flowers and things. Well, then they see, oh, well, here are these fruit trees that flower, and oh, well, we could get double duty out of a flowering shrub that has berries on it or something. So a lot of the people that came and spoke offered ongoing assistance to the city, like Micah from Groundwork. They do a lot of green remediation. They plant things that suck up water. They take out invasive species. I mean, I know that there's a big project at Lindner Park, but let's say we discover we have some standing water someplace. They could plant something that specifically works so that we don't have that, and takes up that water. So, he was really great, and of course, Praveen is on my grant, and then Wade Johnson, he's an incredible resource. In fact, his presentation was pretty cool because he outlined all the things that are like part of this 10-year plan. And it's just phenomenal what we're going to be connected to. It really is.
Yeah.
So anyway, I didn't know if Adopt a Park was still live, if that was still going with all these other things going on. But I would like to formally apply to adopt that park.
Yeah, I will figure that out, find out whatever information you need, and I will make sure you get that. I think that's a great idea. I think it's perfect.
And I thank you guys so much. I know it's hard work. You got all this, you're mining all these human resources right now, and it gets a little chaotic, but it's a good chaos, right?
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you for coming. All right, so that'll bring us to our last agenda item, new business. If anybody has anything they want to bring up or suggest or talk about.
Just the schedule, baby.
Yeah, you're waiting for it. I know you are. Yeah, so tomorrow I meet with Clint to go over the walking path, kind of, how big that's going to be, and get that stuff going. I'm also going to get with him to try to work on getting a deadline together for this schedule of kind of the projects we want to do throughout the rest of the year. I'm assuming you kind of want to do that before the next finance meeting.
Yeah.
And we can try to get that done before then and the next parks meeting. So I'm going to try to get that in his ear, see if he can send me some of his ideas, and I'll send him kind of what I'm thinking and see if we can put that together. Can't have that. I don't think it's going to be that difficult, so.
Yeah, I think the timing's actually quite nice, not just for the finance committee.
Yeah.
Where you saw me mention that, but also I know that it's early days and it's round 1 of 21, but I know that Vic and Mayor Schneider and Jim and some of the other department heads have already started working their budgets. So I think they're probably in a really good position to say where the early part of 21 will look like as well. Obviously, first round is the budgets, then they do first round of the plan, and then they start getting the plan to the place where we start to see it at the beginning of
Yeah.
January. So that's happening present tense. So I think it'd be a really good time to talk to John and Clint. I think
Yeah, definitely.
they probably submitted their budgets a week or two ago.
Yeah, so I agree, definitely. And if there's nothing else, I'll go ahead and put out, I got the proofs for the plaque for East Hams Park today, and just as I pulled in, so I didn't get to check it out, but hopefully we'll get that approved. And the dates we're looking at for that dedication is the Saturday, 10th and 17th. They're both Saturdays in October, probably around 11 in the morning. Gonna get with the administration and kind of see what their schedule is like and the family and kind of works for them and get that going. So that's gonna be coming up, and that's gonna be really awesome.
Great.
So,
Good job.
I will say, my brother went over to the new park up there and was just impressed and amazed.
yeah.
He's like, I never thought it would ever look like that.
Back when I was a kid,
I said,
didn't
man,
even-
we're getting things done.
Yeah. Every day when I go pick my kids up from school, I get told, hey, it looks nice up there, it looks nice. It makes you feel good, but, it's just one of many things we're gonna get done here in this room, so,
Now, if people can just believe us on the streets.
yeah, it's coming, it's coming. Different committee, different time. But yeah, if that's it, nobody has anything else, no questions? Nothing? All right, well, I guess that concludes this Parks, Recreation, Public Spaces Committee meeting.